Hey everyone, welcome to Quickscope podcast, brought to you by Higher Passion Entertainment. We are your hosts, Eric and Serge, and we're here to talk about one of our passions, which is video games. Specifically, today we're going to be talking about E3 and the E3 Summer Fest that was coming out. A lot of things came out during E3. We're super excited about them. Serge, was there anything that really caught your eye during this one?
I think they're adding a lot of little details that I add, like grappling hook. Like a grappling hook where you can grab like things off the ground, or and kind of hard to. I thought the schedule was a little bit weird and hard to follow, at least personally for someone who's, I guess, not hawkeyeing the schedule. But
Yeah,
yeah, it was a little bit difficult to follow in my eyes.
yeah, that's right. I think some of the stuff that I was most excited for was probably the Nintendo stuff. Obviously, me
Yeah,
being a big Nintendo Super Smash Brothers fan. But I wanted to touch on a few of the other games outside of like the big Xbox stuff that they talked about, outside of the big Nintendo
yeah,
stuff. I wanted to get started with some of like the lesser known developers and games that came out, and one of
yeah.
them was Elden Ring. I was super excited about Elden Ring. I thought it looked really cool. Would you think about Elden Ring right off the bat?
Yeah, the graphics looked amazing. It's not my style of game personally, but the graphics looked amazing. It definitely, for someone who likes that style of game, looks like kind of like a, I don't know, Elder
Yeah,
Scrolls or something of that sort. But definitely the graphics were amazing.
yeah,
At least I would probably say the best graphics of the whole E3.
probably. I think it was one of like the biggest surprises out of E3. So
Yeah.
Elden Ring is actually a sequel to Dark Souls, right?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
written by what's his name? The guy from Game of Thrones, G.G. Martin.
Yeah.
Or R. Martin. And he helps create the whole story. And obviously, Dark Souls already has its own world that they've
Yeah.
created, but they went on and created this whole like extended universe. And him being the writer of Game of Thrones, obviously, we're gonna be getting a lot of really good, cool story coming out of this, right? So
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. I don't know. I feel like it was probably the most like complete, in my opinion, most complete showcase.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I wanted to touch on that one first. It looks like it's also an RPG style game. It's probably gonna be just as hard as Dark Souls. You know, Dark Souls is notoriously hard.
Yeah.
Uh, what do you think about the gameplay you saw?
The gameplay looked cool. I like the. I think his sword, like, he has it looked like he had an ability to grow his sword, or when it's like a special form.
Yeah,
Yeah, when he was fighting one of the demons or whatever it is that he was fighting. But yeah, it just, the gameplay looked awesome. It really, like I said, it was one of the most definitely appealing um, gameplay trailers, I think, of V3.
yeah. On top of that, Elden Ring even came out and basically gave a date, right? I think it was like January 2022 that it's coming out.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
why I feel like it was the most, in my opinion, the most complete trailer, and
yeah,
everything. There was a, yeah, it had gameplay, it had cinematics, it had probably the closest thing to like a big reveal that we didn't really
yeah,
expect from E3. So
yeah,
personally, that's why I
definitely.
liked it. Um, Another one that was kind of under the radar, a lot of people didn't think about, was Avatar.
Yeah, yeah. When that came up, I was watching XQC's stream, and he was, it's like that movie came out like 10 years ago, but I mean, people are, the new one's coming out, obviously, I think in a few years, I think 2023 or something like that, or even next year maybe. But I don't know, it looked awesome. At least I thought it looked awesome. Uh, I don't know if it's gonna be a good game because you know it was being made by the same of a Star Wars game coming up. Uh,
Yeah,
I, I'm gonna give it a try just because Avatar, experience of Avatar, just the nature and everything. Having gone to Disney World and experiencing the Avatar land over there, just kind of always environment at least, or an immersive. You know, Avatar is just so beautiful in
Yeah.
general. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I think I'm personally excited for it because I think it's gonna be really good graphics. Obviously, Avatar the movie when it first came out, that's what it was known
Yeah,
for. Well known for its graphics. It had a cool story and just like overall what it did for cinema at the time, right? It was like the highest grossing movie at the
yeah,
time, and for that to be translated into a video game, I think it'll work, especially in a time where we don't always have to get that crazy like action gameplay all the time. Sometimes we just want to play a game that has an immersive, beautiful world, and I think Avatar fits that perfectly, right? Uh, Yeah, I
yeah,
think. I mean, you saw the part right where they're like had the I forgot what they're called, but where they're flying like on the dragons and stuff, and man,
yeah,
that's so cool, especially relating it back to the movie. And like you
yeah,
said, since the movie did come out like 10 years ago, the CGI in that movie and the graphics that we saw in this game looked almost exactly the same, right? It's almost like you're
yeah,
playing through the movie. Yeah,
definitely.
and
Yeah, and I'm excited. I think what I'm excited for is it kind of reminding me, I guess, like a little bit of Ark
Arc, okay.
in a sense, but obviously it's not gonna be like Ark style gameplay. But it reminded me just kind of an exploration game, open world game that I think I'd be interested in. Usually I'm not into too many open world games, but this one kind of caught my eye for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I'm super excited about it. I think it'll be really cool. We'll see what it comes out on. I don't know if this actually had a release date, but regardless, I'm really excited for it. I think it'll be really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Another game that we saw come out that I think it was kind of out of left field, especially for a Rainbow Six game, was Rainbow Six Extraction. And for those that
Yeah,
didn't watch E3, Extraction was actually pretty crazy in that it introduced, I think it was aliens or like some type of monster.
yeah. It I don't know what the name was. Scourges. I think they were Scourge or something like that.
Yeah,
But it definitely reminded me of
it did.
of
Yeah,
like a Left 4 Dead style. It had like the tanks. It had like kind of like the Left 4 Dead spitters and so it kind of had like those different ability uh, zombies or whatever they are, aliens. But and then it added in the Rainbow Six Siege characters, which was pretty awesome. And the abilities, I think, it had sledge, like sledging down the wall.
yeah.
You know, and it looks exciting. I love Rainbow Six Siege. I think they had some kind of zombie thing like that in the Rainbow Six Siege for Halloween a few years ago.
Hmm.
Uh, it looks fun. I know me and my friends are big fans of Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm
I
excited
think
for it.
when it comes down to Rainbow Six, though, a lot of people are so focused on like the technical capabilities of it, like
Yeah,
the technical strategy and picking the right gun and like even like the competitive
yeah,
play. Whereas here you have this game that the focus is team battle, right? So again, going back to like
yeah,
Left 4 Dead, you get this focus of team battle going in, and they had this. They talked about the gameplay a bit where if you have an actual one of your characters is like all suited up and yeah maybe you have a tank or maybe you have something else on them, um any like weapons, and they actually die during like one of your missions, they stay there, they stay dead. So if you want to get that character back, you actually have to put your team together and go back and rescue them. So I think that
yeah,
was a um really cool gameplay that they added to it, that it's really going to change kind of the strategy that you go into games with. And the, in that sense it almost reminded me of like XCOM, if you ever played XCOM 1 or XCOM 2.
yeah,
Yeah, they had all those really cool, like you're going in with these heroes, you have a home base, but you might not come back with the same hero, so you have to go back and save them now in Extraction. I think that's going to be really cool. I think for a Rainbow Six game, mixing the technical capabilities and the strategy of Rainbow Six with kind of like the horror and like alien stories, I think that'll be a really good meld. I'm
yeah,
interested to see where it goes. Honestly, like I don't know if there'd be any type of like competitive gameplay later on,
Yeah.
But I know Rainbow Six will always try and kind of trend in that way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. I'm excited for it for sure. I think they have like you said, a perfect blend um, of the characters and the technical. I mean, the tacticalness comparing to the technicalness they have to have in that gameplay. I feel like it's going to work out pretty well, and having to play different roles with different characters, and like you said, having to be tactical with extracting um, those characters if you want them back.
Yeah,
Which you know, that's a great concept. Definitely makes it worth, I guess, trying again, right?
yeah,
Try and go get.
definitely. We'll try it out. Um, one area of this of E3 that I really wanted to talk about, and the reason I want to talk about this specifically is because we've already heard a lot of bad stuff come out from the Avengers game. So this was during Square Enix,
Yeah,
and obviously Square Enix touched on a lot of different things, but the two biggest things is the Marvel Avengers game and their Black Panther DLC. So Black Panther DLC seems really cool. Obviously, I have Marvel Avengers, and I really like the game. I played through it, played through the story, but I didn't really see any replayability in it. But even with that, I think they're probably releasing this DLC, and they're making a big deal out of it. So hopefully, this is their way of saying, okay, we realize what we did wrong. We're releasing this DLC. We want to expand it, and I want to know if this is going to be their saving grace for the Marvel Avengers. And if not,
yeah,
they also released Guardian or are going to release Guardians of the Galaxy. So this Guardians of the Galaxy actually looks like it's just like a one-player game. I don't think there's any multiplayer aspect to it at all.
yeah,
And it has a really cool mechanic where you play as Star Lord, and from there you actually kind of give orders to control the rest of the Guardians. So I don't know. Coming out of Square Enix, what do you think about these two?
I mean, I, I've never liked Marvel games. I honestly, they always underdelivered for their hype ability, I guess, of their games. The Guardians of the Galaxy, I did like. Next was like you said, uh, and then you control the rest of the other characters. Yeah, I mean, it looked interesting. It's definitely appeasing to the eye. The graphics look great, and then the Avengers Black Panther deal. Hopefully, like you said, it's their saving grace, but it's probably not going to be. I don't see any, or at least I don't see that many people playing Avengers just because of the Black Panther DLC.
Yeah,
Personally, I think that's you know they definitely underdelivered, like you said, on the Avengers game, and I don't know if one character is going to be able to save that.
yeah.
Personally, at
Not
least
not
myself.
only that though, Marvel's Avengers is also available. I know it's available on PlayStation Now, which is like PlayStation's equivalent to Xbox Game Pass. And I don't know, is
Yeah,
it available on Game Pass now?
I believe it
Okay.
is. I believe it is. I believe I had seen it. Yeah,
Yeah, so they obviously went to the extent of making it not necessarily free, but making it included with those passes,
yeah,
because I mean this came out less than a year ago. Still, I think it's only been like a couple months, like 8 9 months that this game came out,
yeah,
and obviously they're at the point now where they realized, okay, we need to do something here. We need to either make it free to play. They added it to these services, and we'll see where it goes from here. But that's definitely the direction I think they're going with Black Panther. I mean, it's a full DLC around it. It's not just like, oh, we're adding this character and its storyline. I feel like they're trying to say this is going to be a whole different like map and whole different world that we're going to be adding to this with different enemies. And
yeah,
I hope it works out for him because personally I thought the story was well made. Coming as a comic book fan though, so I
yeah.
thought the story was really well rounded. Just the gameplay that they were lacking, I don't think it all
Hmm.
came together correctly. So, with that said, I am excited for Guardians. I think Guardians will be pretty cool, and I think
Yeah,
Guardians of the Galaxy will do well as a one-player game. I think it's kind of trying to take more and more from their Final Fantasy games, and that you're controlling one player and you can kind of tell the other members in your group
Yeah.
what to do. So I think it'll be really cool in that sense. So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Definitely, definitely. Yeah, I think the Guardians of the Galaxy is definitely not that it's more pleasing than the Avengers, but I think people really enjoy the interactiveness, I guess, of the Guardians of the Galaxy group. Right? They're just funny, entertaining, and it's just kind of like a good time. Especially with Quinn always having, they're always bickering at each other and stuff like
yeah,
that. So it'll definitely be, I think, a little more fun and um, a little bit of a more exciting game than at least personally for Avengers. I definitely like the graphics for sure.
yep. Yeah, we'll see where it goes. Aside from these two games, Square Enix also came out with. I had gotten super excited about this because I didn't read the details, but they had said there was a Final Fantasy Battle Royale coming, but that's mobile only. So that was a bit
Mm.
depressing because I'm over here thinking like, dude, I can be like a character and be like Cloud or like
Yeah,
anyone else from the Final Fantasy games, right? And like go in
yeah,
and have all the different weapons that are customizable in Final Fantasy. I got super excited only to know that it's just gonna be mobile. Um, I mean, with that said,
that
mobile gaming has done well. So
yeah,
maybe it will work. It's just not to the level of excitement that I was originally
yeah.
looking forward to.
Yeah, I guess the good thing about mobile gaming is that it's I guess the most easily accessible platform, right? For almost everybody. Everyone has a phone, or at least most people have phones. So it's something that's available to, I guess, the majority of
Yeah,
people, which helps them. Yeah.
yeah. So we'll see where that one goes. But that was pretty much it for Square Enix. There's a couple other. I think they did like a Final Fantasy spin-off that they're doing as well. But again,
Yeah.
that's more of a wait and see how it goes. Nothing too exciting there. Um, Something that a lot of people were getting excited about is, and I guess people are always looking forward, right, to Nintendo's showcase at E3.
Yeah.
Especially, I think we got a Nintendo Direct maybe like 3 months ago from Nintendo. And then so we
Yeah.
got another basically Nintendo Direct at E3 event. Um, and I don't know, there was quite a few games that came out of this. Some people there's like mixed reviews on it too. Like some people thought it was really good, others thought it was like meh, like whatever. Out of the Nintendo Direct showcase, what stood out to you?
Definitely Metroid.
Metroid,
I
yeah,
think. Yeah, yeah. Metroid looked fun. It looked amazing. It took me back for sure. It made me feel like a Metroid game. I guess has been needed for sure for a while. So they definitely, I guess, listened to their community. I guess people have been asking. I feel like for Metroid game for forever. So definitely that, and I guess Breath of the Wild as well. That was obviously a great game, but um, you know, people I guess are excited for
yeah.
Breath of the Wild. I was a little bit surprised by the not surprised, I guess, the cinematic for the
Mario Rabbits.
Mario Rabbit. Yeah, I was a little confused for a second there. I was like, the cinematic was going for a little long, and I was just like, what are they trying to do for a second? And then it was slowly getting there, but
Yeah.
that looked really
Yeah,
interesting
I
too.
think unfortunately the coolest news that came out of Nintendo for me is, and you can actually see in the background here, is Kazuya Mishima added to Smash Brothers, and from
Yeah,
Tekken. So I'm not a big Tekken guy, but I remember I was talking to Eddie about this because he's a huge Tekken player, and he's like, "Really, they're adding
yeah,
him?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah," and they had this really funny like cinematic where they were like picking up, or if you've ever played Tekken, there's a cinematic where Kazuya like gets the people that he beats and he like drops them off a cliff, and then they were
yeah.
showing him getting the different characters from Smash
He was like
Brothers.
Kirby or
Yeah,
someone. Yeah, he was. I think the last one was like Kirby.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Last
saw
one
that.
was Kirby. He drops off the cliff and Kirby just like puffs back up behind him. Um, I thought that was
Yeah,
really cool. Like obviously as a Smash Brothers fan, seeing all these characters from all these other games showing up. I mean, you already had Ryu, you had Cloud, you have like obviously the Sonic and
yeah,
Snake and all these characters just coming in from everywhere. I just think it just adds to both the lore of Smash Brothers and just the overall excitement around it, just keeping it fresh, right? So I think
yeah.
that's
Yeah, it definitely
Yeah,
fits. It definitely
yeah,
fits right. It's going to be easy transition, and people are going to play them. So that's I think that's all they
yeah. I
want, I
think
guess.
ever since we got Ryu from Street Fighter in there, it just kind of opened it wide up. It's like, okay, now we can have
Yeah,
anyone in here, really. If you can
yeah,
get those types
definitely.
of video games and their fighting styles to fit into Smash Brothers, because I
Mhm.
mean, if you think about it, Smash Brothers is really weird in how they do their fighting system, right? Like all these other games, Street Fighter, Tekken, even like Marvel vs. Capcom, everyone has a health bar that goes down. Whereas in
Yeah,
this one, it's percentages that go up, and the higher percentage you are, the more likely you are to go flying off the map. So it's different in
yeah,
that way, and the fact that they're able to get this different style of fighting game and pull these characters in and make them work, I think that's just a testament to how good Nintendo has really done with this franchise. So
yeah,
yeah, obviously, as a Smash Bros. Fanboy, I'm excited about that one. Uh,
yeah,
I don't know about Breath of the Wild, dude. Breath of the Wild 2 coming out. That was just there's so many better Zelda games that they could have made. Like
yeah,
and I think they were kind of touching on Breath of the Wild also being a like a Skyward Sword kind of sequel
hmm,
because I don't know if you played Breath of the Wild, but in the original one you couldn't go into those sky islands like all that
yeah,
and in this gameplay they show Link going into the sky temples and all these other things. So it was almost like, is this gonna kind of combine Breath of the Wild with Skyward Sword? So
yeah,
there's that, and there's also this theory that I've been hearing people talk about that there's actually two Links in this game. So there's two Links that you're playing as that are connected like through like time and space, right? So maybe it's kind
yeah,
of a sequel to Breath of the Wild and a sequel to Skyward Sword, and they're
yeah,
just kind of bringing them together in this way. I think that would be really cool, right? But
yeah,
I think Breath of the Wild is still new enough, and it's still getting enough like new playability, and I've seen it a lot in like speed runs and competitions that I think it's still a new enough game where we could have just done with a new Zelda game from another game, like a new Ocarina of Time would have been amazing.
yeah,
And I know a lot of people have been asking for them, right? For different Zelda games for a while now.
yeah,
So I know they just I know Nintendo saw how well they did with Breath of the Wild,
definitely.
and they're like, okay, we're gonna make a second one because we're just gonna capitalize on this. That was the best Zelda game, think, in the most purchased game they had in a
Yeah,
while. So it's gonna be obviously a business decision to make Breath of the Wild too. So
yeah, yeah, 100%. That's their probably only reasoning behind it. Like you said, maybe it was a little forced, but
yeah,
it was, I think it was a necessary decision that they had to make because you're not going to capitalize, you can't, you have to capitalize on something like this when it's, like you said, it's their biggest game. You have to make a sequel.
yeah,
It's, if you don't, people are going to be disappointed, or you're not going to capitalize on that market for sure.
yeah,
So I think, it's a necessary game that to make. Is it going to be good? It's probably going to be good, right?
yeah,
I mean, they,
yeah,
they, they usually fall through on their games. They usually do a pretty good job. So, you know, it, it's definitely a necessary decision they had to make.
yeah. That's true. That's true. Yeah. So we'll see where it goes. I'll probably play Breath of the Wild 2 at some point when it comes out. But it's not one that I'm immediately gonna like jump on right when it comes out.
Yeah,
Um, for what was the other one you mentioned? Mario Rabbids.
my
Okay,
rabbits.
the new Mario Rabbids 2. I think Mario Rabbids 1 is has gone under the radar for far too long. Like not that many
Yeah,
people played it, and I love that game. That game's so cool.
yeah.
Cause
But I feel like anybody that's ever played that game really, really
yeah,
enjoys it.
and I think a
Yeah,
lot of people don't know who like the Rabbids are, and like they come from Ubisoft, and actually the Mario Rabbids 2 it showed up twice during E3, right? It showed up in the Ubisoft
yeah,
showcase and at Nintendo Direct, and just having both of those developers working on a game alone is gonna tell you it's something good. But even with that, I think Mario Rabbids, the first one, I'll always talk good about the first one because Um, the way that it worked is the same as I mentioned XCOM before. It's that type of strategy
Yeah.
game where you have your characters and you tell them where to go, and you have them like take cover and then take a shot at the opposing team, and there's a percentage that they get of whether they hit a shot or not. And having that type of
Yeah.
strategy game with like Mario and Rabbids, it just makes it fun. But at the same time, it has a a like high skill cap, right? Where you can actually like get so good at the game and compete with other people that the strategy really comes into play and taking chances to see if maybe you'll get a hit right now, maybe not, or maybe I should move my character to have a better shot. And then
Yeah.
coming out with My Rabbits 2 just made sense to me, because the first one I think the first one's gonna go down as like a cult classic because everyone that I've
Yeah.
like you said everyone that I've heard that's played it loved the game, and
Yeah.
with
Definitely.
Mario Rabbids 2, you really know they're doubling down on this, right? And part of the reason I'm okay with them making Mario Rabbids 2 but not Breath of the Wild 2 is that I don't feel like Mario Rabbids 1 got the same amount of like as big a player base as Zelda did as Breath of the Wild. Because
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild 1, it was a brand new Zelda game. Zelda already has its own like cult following,
Yeah.
and obviously everyone was gonna play it regardless if it was bad or not. But with Mario
Yeah.
Rabbids, I think more people need to take a chance on it, and especially with Mario Rabbids 2 coming out, obviously Mario Rabbids 1 is gonna be cheaper. So I want
Yeah.
people to give it a shot because I really think Mario Rabbids 2 is gonna be just as good, if not much better, than the first one. So yeah, I'm
Definitely.
excited for that.
Definitely. Yeah. I feel like it's one of those that's gonna, like you said, it's gonna come under the radar, and people are gonna slowly enjoy it as more people try the game. Obviously, it's one of those where you have to just kind of like give it a shot. Give it a shot, and then like I told you, I think most of the people that do try it like it. So it's just one of those you just got to try it without even having any opinion on
Yep.
it, I guess.
Yeah. And then the last one we talked about was you mentioned Metroid. That was the one you're most
Metroid.
excited for.
Yeah, yeah, it looked awesome, man. That I don't know. It looked perfect. I don't know. I don't want to say perfect, but it looked like something that we've needed, I
Yeah.
guess. It looks enjoyable, and I can't wait for that for sure.
Yeah, it looks really good. I personally like. I'm a big Metroid fan. I was my top Metroid game, probably one of my top Nintendo games of all time, is Metroid Prime. And then it came out for I think the GameCube, and obviously this isn't going in that direction, right? This is going more for like the old style Metroid games, and I think
Yeah,
that's what makes it so cool. Like a new Metroid game, what's it called? Metroid Dread. Um, Coming
yeah,
out, that's gonna get a lot of people talking. And personally, I thought this was up there with Kazuya coming out in Smash as probably the most
yeah,
important announcement at E3 from Nintendo. Just because we haven't had a
yeah,
Metroid game in so long. I remember talking about the Nintendo Direct. We talked about that maybe at the one that was like 6 months ago, and I was like, I need to hear something from Metroid because everyone's
yeah,
asking for it, right? Like we need something from in the Metroid universe at least, and then they just hit us with this, and I think this was almost out of left field too. I don't think anyone really
yeah,
expected a new Metroid game, and even with like we saw the gameplay obviously, and they had like brand new suits and brand new like enemies, and we saw a couple different like weapons. Like obviously Metroid is well known for the different customizations to the weapons that you can do throughout the game,
yeah,
and you saw different mechanics there that we hadn't seen in previous Metroid games. So overall, I mean, having this type of 2D scroller platformer coming out now, I think it's going to be really good, especially for the Switch. I think
yeah,
the Switch, like a lot of people, yes, a lot of people use it like in their home as almost like they did like the Wii. But we need to remember that it's also a handheld game, and as
traveling.
a travel game, I think Metroid kind of fits
Hmm.
it perfectly, right?
Definitely. Yeah,
Yeah. So it,
that's to me, like you said, personally, if you have a Switch, you play it at home. I guess the most enjoyable part of a Switch is being able to take it on travel, take it on, being able to game on the go when you're not able to play, your games at home when you're vacation or, you're on an airplane or something like that. That's the time to spend 4 hours just grinding Metroid. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited for sure.
Yeah.
It definitely looks like I guess the good thing is Nintendo, they really understand their fan base, and they understand, I guess, what they want. And when people ask for something, usually they give it to them, or at least tactically they make the decisions. But they usually follow through with these games, and it definitely, I don't see them falling short on this one, at least from first glance, at least.
Nope, not at all. I'm already imagining all the like speed runs and stuff that people are gonna try to
Yeah,
be doing with these. Especially if you start getting into. I know a lot of 2D scrollers recently. Like I've been playing a lot of Hollow Knight lately,
yeah,
and with that game, like yes, you have speed runs, but then you have like the boss speed runs, and now you have like different like everyone knows that when you have this type of single player game, there's gonna be a speedrun aspect to it that is gonna make it competitive. And
yeah,
I feel like Nintendo understands that, and they're probably gonna add some type of like speedrun mode where you can
yeah.
do like, oh, how fast can you beat all the bosses, or here are like certain like levers or stuff that you can turn on to make the game harder and try to beat it in this mode, or who knows to what extent the customizations will be for the weapons, where maybe you can like pick and choose which like weapon attachments you use going into a new battle or into a new level, or into like a boss fight. And I think more and more games are trending in that direction, and where there's all this customization. Like you saw it with Hades, right? Where
Yeah,
you play Hades and you keep the replayability of the single player game is what made that so cool. And Hades having come out on the Switch as well and on PC, I think they saw the importance of that, and they'll probably add it to this Metroid game, because
yeah,
I see it. I see Metroid definitely trending in that direction if like those types of roguelike games become kind of the standard for single player scrollers like that. So yeah, I think that'll be really cool, and yeah, I'm super excited for Metroid. We'll see where it goes.
yeah.
Um, Next up, we had the Microsoft event, or I guess the Xbox event, right?
Yeah.
Few things came out on that one that seems really cool. Uh, Obviously, the top of everyone's list for Xbox is gonna be Halo, right? What do you think about
Right.
the announcements around Halo Infinite?
I I thought the multiplayer looked pretty great. It definitely looked like they're adding a lot. It definitely looks like they're not going to this. I feel like Halo got stuck on their. We have this formula. It's working. Let's just keep it that way. Add a little bit. It seems like they're kind of changing the combat style. I guess in a way, it's still the same, but it definitely felt fresh. So I thought it looked. It looks fun. It looks amazing. I'm excited for it. They definitely counted us down, because if they do, uh, I don't know where Halo goes from this, because they have to fall through, because I don't remember the last Halo that has been playable, at least personally for me. Uh, but I'm excited for it for sure. I thought they did a
Yeah,
pretty good job with the showcase, and I guess we'll see what happens. But I know it's super
yeah.
hyped, so people are
I
really
think when it
excited
came
for it.
down to the multiplayer, you mentioned that it looked different. I think Halo Infinite's multiplayer looks really cool. It looks faster paced than other Halo games.
Yeah,
And one of the really cool things that came out here is them saying that their multiplayer is going to be free to play. So I don't know to what extent that is. Like, does
yeah,
this mean that anyone on an Xbox like myself, like I don't have Xbox Live, but I can play
yeah.
Fortnite, I can play Apex, I can play those games. Does that mean I'm going to be able to play Halo multiplayer?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like Warzone, where Warzone came out and Warzone was free, but you should still buy the
Yeah,
normal Call of Duty game. You might get some extra stuff if you buy the game. Obviously, it might give you 2 days prior access if you buy the game or something like that. They're gonna probably do something that entices you
yeah.
to buy the game, but it seems like they're gonna do some kind of like Warzone where it's free to play, and which they should. That's it's a proven formula for
Oh
multiplayer
yeah.
games at this time. If you don't make your game free to play, it's probably not going to last because people want to try the game first before buying it. No one wants to spend $60 on a game and be disappointed
Nope.
anymore. Especially in multiplayer, where that's the main thing of Halo is multiplayer. I guess obviously the campaign is awesome, but that's I guess more of their dedicated Halo fans that really love the campaign. But most people there for
Yeah.
multiplayer. So um, it's because we need something new. And awesome, you grapple like like there was just some awesome battles. It almost looked like it's just like you said, super high paced. Like there was a lot of new mobility added, like a new there's a new car I think that they added. There was it just looked they acted a lot of they added a lot of mobility in the game, which will make it faster
Yeah.
paced for sure.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I thought it was really cool what they added. So yeah, we mentioned about it being more faster paced, but I think overall the coolest thing that they added to multiplayer is the non-expiring battle passes. Yeah,
Yes, yeah,
by
definitely.
far I think that was the maybe the most important thing that came out of this. Just because I mean I've played so many of these like battle royales and multiplayers like you mentioned them Fortnite,
Mhm.
Apex, Warzone, even Hyperscape. They have all these like really cool battle passes, and I think most recently I buy the Apex battle pass. I get um, the Rogue battle pass, and Fortnite. The last one I got was Marvel, but like for example, I didn't complete the Marvel battle pass. I just because I didn't have
Yeah,
time, right? Like life happens, but
yeah, definitely.
but to be able to like go back and say, hey, I want to complete this battle pass versus this one, and play through it and actually like gain everything in that time, I think that makes it almost makes it like more enjoyable because I found myself at the end of a few seasons, especially in Apex, just only playing so I can finish the battle pass. And
Yeah, yeah. And then you're forced to play in a
yeah,
certain style where we don't want to
yeah,
play.
like because a lot of those battle pass like um a lot of the tasks that you need to complete are like, oh, you need to play as this character or you need to get a certain amount of kills with like this specific gun in this specific location.
Yeah,
And um when you start playing it like that, it almost makes it not enjoyable because you don't always get to play your game
yeah,
style. Like,
yeah. Exactly.
especially I don't know. I saw it a lot in Fortnite where it's all these like nonsensical tasks. Like you have to go. Oh, you had to dig in these 5 spots across the map, and
Yeah, I
I
hated that.
literally there was days where just like me and my sister and maybe like some of my friends who were trying to finish the battle pass also were like, all right, someone Google where these locations are, and then we're all gonna go there together, and we're gonna go like hit up these different spots, and we're literally just playing like an hour of just trying to get as many tasks as we can done instead of actually just
Mhm.
playing and enjoying the game for what it is. So
Yeah, yeah. You should get them as your gameplay. Transgresses
yeah,
like you as you're playing. You should be able to get these the battle pass experience and extra points. But like you said with the Fortnite, sometimes you see like 10 people landing in one location,
yeah,
just grab the star, and then you run out, and then you just see people pickaxing. So yeah, it's just like it's almost just unnecessary. But obviously, people have been learning little by little on Battle Pass. So, hopefully, this is the right way that they'll set the precedent for the next Battle Passes throughout
yeah.
these other games, and maybe people will
Yeah, I
change.
think
Yeah,
that's gonna be really cool, especially for Halo. Like they showed some of the changes that you are gonna be able to do in multiplayer. Like you're gonna be
yeah,
able to update is not your Spartan and have like customized looks and colors and customizations to your weapons and like all that stuff.
yeah,
The stuff that you see in other multiplayer games now being able to add it to Halo. That's gonna be so cool. And
yeah,
I think Halo's gonna like take over, especially because it's gonna be free to play. And I like you're gonna be able to play with PC just as much as on Xbox. Like a lot of this is gonna be one of those games that's gonna make people trend towards Xbox because obviously it being
definitely.
Halo, they're not gonna come out on PlayStation. right? This game is only going to be on PC
Yeah.
and Xbox. And I think it's going to be one of those games that, like, just like a lot of people bought a PlayStation just so they can play Spider-Man or Last of Us, people are now going to go back to
Mhm.
getting an Xbox just because of Halo. And I think
Yeah.
that's the first time, probably since like the Xbox 360, that I might consider getting the new Xbox just because of Halo, right? Um,
Yeah.
because
I
the last
agree.
few Halos, like you mentioned before, like haven't really been following them. They've been hit or miss. I think we haven't had like a super good Halo multiplayer since like Halo 3 maybe. Um, and
Hmm.
and now them kind of just going all in on this, it's gonna make a lot of sense. And I know Halo Infinite, the way they're even designing it is to be able to have this Halo game kind of be like set in stone as like the definitive Halo game moving forward,
Hmm.
and then that way they can just keep adding like DLC to it. And obviously with the multiplayer they can add, like, maybe they have to add weapons or add like in-game events.
Yeah.
And a lot of that will work with Halo just because they've already created their own really in-depth universe, and with all different kinds of enemies throughout the history of Halo, like they already have a well-established world that they can create in-game events for multiplayer, and at the same time create like downloadable content for people to play through single game stories. And that's super exciting to me because it'll be almost like a like Destiny, for example, like Destiny 2. You know how they always came out with those like
Yeah.
big DLCs every like few months and maybe like every year or so. But even then, like, everyone went back to Destiny for a little. Okay, let's go play through this DLC. Let's check out what's new, and then once that's done, okay, maybe we'll play some of the multiplayer or play something else. Uh, yeah, so
Yeah.
so with all that, I think, yeah, I mean Halo during this event, during the Xbox event at E3, I think they killed it. Honestly, I think they probably were one of the best showings at E3 this year. And yeah, I'm super excited for Halo Infinite. Like every time something comes out for it, it's just a little more excitement. They're starting to show gameplay, which is really cool. And honestly, like I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready for it.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Like you said, it's just it definitely feels like it's the first. It feels like it's the first multiplayer game that has drawn someone to a console. It feels like, I guess, for Spider-Man. So
Yeah.
besides, so it feels like it's the first thing that you said people are going to switch over
Yeah.
to deliver, because I don't know where Halo goes from here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they'd go either.
Yeah.
This is they're putting all their eggs in a
Yeah.
basket here because this is gonna be the make it or break it for them. Definitely.
Yeah, and it's a perfect time. There's really no massive games right now. There's someone's just waiting for the new game right now. So there's obviously a bunch of playable games and multiplayer games right now, but Halo could definitely take over the gaming community for quite a while, if they do deliver.
Yeah, yeah, and obviously they're also doing a lot of this with content creators in mind. So
Yeah.
they have to make some type of customization as well, um, to be able to work with all these like streamers on YouTube and Twitch and everything. They have to be able to get them to play it and give them the ability to create content. Um,
Yeah.
because I mean, if you start looking at games that haven't really done that for their communities, one that comes to mind is Overwatch. Like, I'm a big
Yeah.
Overwatch player. I really love Overwatch and the lore. But just in the last like year and a half, they haven't done anything to help out the streamers. Like, Overwatch streamers are like, I commend you for continuing to stream Overwatch or to create YouTube
Yeah.
content for it. Because right now that game is so stale that there's like I have no idea how you're still creating brand new content for it.
Yeah.
And when I'm looking at Halo, I'm like, I really hope that they take that into consideration, because they have to take a page out of like Fortnite and Apex Legends book and even Warzone. Like, they're doing a good job of keeping it fresh every couple months, new
Yeah.
content, and not just with the battle pass, right? With in-game events, with new skins, introducing new guns every once in a while. Like, all that is gonna make it super interesting to play and super interesting to watch others play. And I think developers now have to keep that take that into consideration. If they really want a game to be successful, it needs to be enjoyable to watch as well as play.
Def- Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, the Twitch and streamers are a big part of the hype, the just in general the experience of watching or it's such a huge part of our current society. So definitely they have to, like you said, follow through on that. And Overwatch, as far as Overwatch, I was promised. Overwatch should look promising for a second there, but now I'm just like, God, if they don't do something, I'm gonna be very disappointed because Overwatch 2 right now is kind of like it's on the slope down for me
Yeah,
personally.
yeah.
So
I mean, we saw
you know,
Blizzard opted out of E3, I think a while ago, like a few years
yeah,
ago, because they have BlizzCon and they have their own events. And Sony
mm,
opted out of E3 as well. So seeing that Sony isn't there, I mean, I don't know if that was a good move for them. I know Sony's gonna have their own PlayStation event soon, because
yeah,
especially now there's the whole thing of like summer of gaming, where it's been long enough since these new consoles came out that now, okay, everyone's waiting to see what the next big thing is, and PlayStation needs
yeah,
to act soon, because both from Xbox and from Bethesda, who are their main competitors right now, we got some really cool games, and we got some really cool looks at upcoming
yeah,
stuff that's coming to these games. So I think with Sony not being here, I think it definitely hurt them. Just because now everyone's talking about Xbox and the excitement of like all these games that are coming out on PC, and then you have Sony over here who's hasn't said a word about anything. And I mean, we talked
yeah.
about it last time on my thoughts of PlayStation 5 and why we think like they're kind of screwing the pooch right now. They're not doing anything. They might start losing more people now because they decided to not
Yeah.
be a part of E3.
And I don't know if I don't know if that's a personally I don't know if it's an ego thing for Sony, but they always feels like they think they're above not above everybody else, but like it feels like they're instead of moving the moving gaming forward, it's almost like they're focused on just them. I guess in a sense, I don't know how to explain it. I guess, but that's why I personally, not that I don't like Sony, but I feel like they've always had this in my eyes a bad I don't even know how to explain it. It just feels like they're really focused on them, and they don't understand that the gaming is moving forward with or without them. And if they don't make any changes or they don't get out of their comfort zone and try to make something new rather than just bringing new games. New games are, yeah, they're cool, but you got to keep moving forward and changing the gaming landscape and the way gaming is played, the way gaming is consumed. And I think like Microsoft and Xbox always understood that, which is where like, you know what, we're not going to focus so much on Xbox. We're going to move towards PC. We're going to go on Game Pass. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And I feel like PlayStation's always just kind of been waiting for other people to make their moves and then just follow suit or that a little bit here, a little bit there, but that's kind of always been their style, at least from my eyes personally.
Yeah, I see that. I definitely see that, and I think, I mean, I don't know if you saw the recent news about what was that game, something Tsushima, um I forgot, it was a really popular game that was a Sony exclusive.
Oh,
Ghost,
Ghost of
yeah,
Tsushima.
Ghosts, and
Yeah.
they came out with some like ad or something, and it was actually removed the part where it said PlayStation exclusive. So I mean,
Yeah.
they have stuff like this happening, and rumors going around that some of their most popular games are now going to be available on PC. Uh, they're going to start losing more and more people if they don't do something quick, right? I think the most
Yeah.
exciting news that we got from them is a Last of Us remake of Last of Us One, which is just them trying to capitalize on that it's the best game they've ever made. But even then, it's man, I don't know. It's kind of depressing to see, especially me as a PlayStation fan, right? Like I've 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 stuck with
Yeah.
PlayStation for so long now that I want to see them like on top, and I want to see them doing well. But at the same time, like you said, it seems like there's almost like some pride there that doesn't allow them to want to go into E3 with all these other developers they've worked with, games that are on PlayStation, and even with
Mhm.
Xbox, right? Like it seems like Xbox doesn't have this mentality that we're gonna be separate from everyone. And I know it's because they also create PC games and all that. But even
Mhm.
then, I think Xbox as a console is really kind of thinking holistically of gaming as a whole, rather than Sony, who's just focused on their like environment that they create around gaming.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. For sure. It almost feels like they said Microsoft understands that they have to work with these other. It's like they're not just
yeah,
competition. You have to work together to move gaming forward, but also move your company forward. So it's just like it's not just about your competition, and always, it is a
yeah,
business, but it only helps to help each other, I guess, in a
yep,
sense. If another game and another company succeeds, it's good. So it helps you. Well, yes, it's kind of competition. It's still in general sense as far as gaming, as long as it keeps progressing and it keeps getting bigger and bigger, because there was a point in time when everybody, gaming was looked as a nerd thing, as a just you play games, just it's a
yeah,
waste of time and this and that. Nowadays it's part of society, it's part of everyone sees it as a hobby and as a uh, stress reliever, and now it's widely more accepted. So I think as long as gaming definitely pushes forward, um, Sony should definitely see that, I guess, and work with these companies.
yep, yeah. So yeah, we'll see where they go. But for now, I guess going back to the Xbox event at E3, I did want to touch on two
Yeah.
more games before we sign off here. One of them was Bethesda Starfield. I know you mentioned that there wasn't a lot on it, huh?
Yeah, the cinematic was, I guess it wasn't clear as to what it was. I was You said it was an RPG, but it was nice. It was definitely a piece. I was kind of
Yeah,
lost, I guess. Like, it definitely, it definitely,
yeah,
it felt like, I don't know if it was gonna be like a Rogue One type of game. It almost felt like,
yeah,
but I guess I wasn't sure. I guess what what kind of game this was gonna be, or
yeah.
what was gonna come from it.
I mean, it definitely looked to me like a RPG, like a space RPG, but more
Yeah.
along the lines of like an actual like space simulator almost, like
Mhm.
because it looked like they had like almost normal like astronaut outfits,
Yeah.
and they had like space stations and all these controls. When you I think that's kind of what you were referring to, right? When you say kind of like Rogue One, where
Yeah.
they had all these crazy controls when you went into the spaceship. So I think it's going to be more along those lines of being like more realistic per se, like less like Star
Cool.
Wars, but more
Yeah.
heading towards like like a flight simulator or those types of games. I mean, it being Bethesda, obviously there's going to be
Yeah.
some type of like fictional aspect to it that's going to make it really cool. But I think that they almost want to make it kind of uh changing that difficulty a bit, because I know a lot of people really enjoy that, right? Like a lot of people really enjoy Flight Simulator. A lot of people really enjoy those road games where it was really
Yeah.
difficult to play because you really had to pay attention to all your different controls. I think that's where they're going with it, and I think it'll be really cool to see Bethesda come out with a new RPG in this style,
Definitely.
and create like a whole world with planets and a system around it that will work for Bethesda. I mean, Bethesda obviously they know how to create worlds. They know how to create stories behind those worlds, and I I'm pretty I'm looking at it. optimistically because I think it's gonna be really cool. Like you said, it was only a
Yeah.
cinematic that we got, but even with that cinematic, I'm like, all right, this is gonna be a good one. I think this is gonna be pretty
Oh,
cool.
it definitely looked interesting. It was just kind of like, I guess it wasn't enough.
Yeah,
It was definitely a teaser. So
yeah,
they're gonna probably bring out more information soon. So
yeah.
I guess it kind of did remind me a little bit like, I guess now that you're explaining it, it reminds me of Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds,
Is
yeah,
that the name? Outer
yeah,
Worlds. Yeah, kind of like that, I guess, in a sense, but probably definitely makes it more in depth and more realistic in the space simulator
yeah,
type of game.
yep, yep. Um, and lastly, I want to talk about Battlefield 2042. Uh,
Yeah,
so we got this one last, and I have it on here because I mean, it's a Battlefield is known for being realistic, like talking about realism.
yeah.
It's known for like Battlefield One, like that game was super cool, and
Oh, it's
they
amazing.
did a really good job with it of like kind of both creating the story, but also creating this environment where you're using weapons from history. And
Hmm.
if you look at like any like documentaries or stuff on YouTube where they talk about the development of this game, of these games, they take realism and like the like patterns of bullets and all this, and then they take all the stuff that's in reality and they try to integrate into this game. So them coming out with Battlefield 2042, I thought that was really exciting because obviously it had being 2042, it's in the future, so it's almost kind of setting the stage of along the lines of like an advanced warfare type of thing with Call of Duty,
Yeah,
but with Battlefield. And I mean, I think they're gonna pull it off. Honestly, I think they're gonna do really well with
yeah,
this, and we're gonna see a lot of competition with, as there always has been between Battlefield and Call of Duty.
yeah, yeah. Definitely. This the trailer was awesome. I know the guy jumping out of the plane and then shooting the other plane was one of the highlights, I guess, for a lot of people,
Yeah,
at least for as far as trailers. So it looks great. Like you said, Battlefield's always been good, especially the earlier games. Personally, for me, were better than 3, 4, 5
yeah,
personally, but because that's just memories personally.
yeah,
Like that was just such good times back then. But um, hopefully that they don't go advanced warfare that far, but maybe find the middle ground between advanced warfare and normal battlefield. So it'd be interesting to see what they
yeah,
do. They definitely are doing it at the right time. I feel like this is their moment to kind of come out and maybe be one of the top games. Compete with Halo, compete with Call of Duty. So
yeah,
I guess we'll see what they
yeah,
do because they've always been sitting there. They've always been in the back lines,
yeah.
just waiting, waiting, and waiting. So
Yeah,
you never
I think
know.
it's to put him on top. And you mentioning that the guy jumping out of the plane, sure, the other one. That was a thing that actually happened in game, right? It was a tribute.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah,
that's a tribute to I think he made YouTube content and he became infamous, this guy for doing that shot in the plane and just like jumping out and rocket using a rocket launcher hitting another plane and then jumping back into his plane.
yeah,
And the fact that and they made it look so cool in the cinematic, and them playing that type of homage to content creators kind of goes back to what I was saying with Halo, right? Like these games need to understand that the games they're creating need to be able to showcase content for creators to work with,
yeah, yeah,
and that got me excited for it too because it shows that they're paying attention, they're listening. So I mean, there's all kinds of content and especially like tournaments and competitions around Call of Duty games. So I think they're going to take that into consideration with Battlefield 2042,
yeah,
and yeah, that one probably I wanted to leave that one for last because it's probably one of the biggest highlights. At least for me, like liking first person shooters, seeing a new Battlefield come out, that's always gonna be like
yeah,
a highlight for me personally. But other
yeah,
than that, I know, especially with the pandemic and everything, E3 showcasing these many games, and I know a lot of them weren't brand new. I think they actually did pretty well. I think comparing
yeah,
this E3 to other E3s isn't fair. Just because we understand that because of the pandemic, a lot of these game developers had to hold back certain things, and it destroyed their whole like development life cycle. Um,
yeah,
and still getting the amount of news that we got, and obviously we didn't touch on the indie games, right? There's all these crazy indie games that we saw, like I thought there was like a hot pot simulator that I thought was hilarious, like food simulators, and like yeah, there's just a long, super long list of indie games that we didn't even touch
Yeah.
on today. But seeing these many games and this much news come out, I think it was actually a really good E3. At least that's what I give it. I think it was overall a really good showing from E3.
Yeah, they definitely did a good job. They didn't overdo it, I guess, enough, which was okay, right, for their circumstance and in the pandemic. Sometimes okay is fine,
Yep,
and I think in this you know.
yep, definitely. So yeah, that basically wraps up this episode. As always, I want to end with recommendations. So I don't know if you have any recommendations for the folks on right now.
Um, I honestly haven't been playing anything different. The new Minecraft update's been
Oh
pretty
yeah,
surprisingly pretty well. So I've been playing that, and it's been fun. The Apex split season, I've been playing that as well, playing some ranks. So I guess Apex and Minecraft for me personally, those are the two things that I'm playing right now. Nothing new, I guess, as of lately. I've been, life's been getting busy, so
yep,
nothing new lately. Just those two. So those two. I haven't had the time to try a new game
that's
recently.
fair. That's fair. I haven't really tried any new games recently either. I mentioned I was playing Hollow Knight. There is a new season of, I guess it's not brand new. It's been out for a while, but of Teamfight Tactics. I've recommended this game before. Super chill game to play. I've actually gotten some friends to start playing it, and it's also available on mobile. So if you want just an easy mobile game that you can just play here and there, TFT and the reason I'm also recommending Almo is because they do have a new game mode that allows you to play quick games. So it's what do they call it? They call it TFT reroll. So what that means is instead of you like there's a strategy in this game where you hold on to the amount of gold that you have to purchase characters throughout, and then you gain interest so you can like buy stronger characters later on. What they do is they remove the interest mechanic and the leveling up mechanic, so it automatically levels up and you don't get interest, so you can spend your money a lot quicker within the game. And what that does, it creates these like 10, 15-minute games. Like super quick, super
Which is
fun.
perfect for
Yeah,
mobile.
perfect for mobile. So instead of having to play like this long, like especially when you're playing competitive, you get like a 20-minute game. Sometimes if it goes really long, it can go up to like half an hour game. The
Yeah,
doing this like the reroll mode, it's super fun and it's super quick, and you can create some like really funny comps within the game. And playing in that mode, I find it super exciting. It's really fun, and it's just quick and easy, right? You can do it like in the middle of a break, or if you're waiting for something. Like,
yeah.
yeah, it's a quick 10, 15 minutes just to play a quick TFT match. It's really fun, and I definitely recommend it. So specifically TFT and that game mode, the reroll. Um, so yeah. So again, want to thank everyone for watching. We are Quickscope Podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. We started posting a lot of our reels on there too. And any new content that we hear, we're definitely going to post it on there. Make sure to follow Higher Passion as well. So you follow all of our other sister podcasts, and they're coming out with all kinds of content too. One of my favorites right now is the Hoodame. So if you're into anime, definitely check out those dudes. They've been killing it lately, both on the podcast and on social media. So follow them on Twitter and Instagram. And again, just want to thank you for joining us, and GG's.
GG's.
There you go.